Mazdamundi, causing genocide and having some fun. Hey there, this is Malorian, and this is going to be a Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. Now, I have good news and I have bad news for you. I'm going to start off with the good news. The good news is that this is going to be a 5,000 point battle between my Lizardmen and up against some vampire accounts. And with that too is I'm breaking out Mazdamundi. This is a guy I love. He is a Slan on top of a Stegodon. Very cool. And you almost get to never do it now because he's 780 points, so it means that you just can't see him, and even at a 3,000 point game. So that's going to be very cool, very big game. Now comes the bad news. I went and I did this as a Vidhammer style report, and when I had to leave the location to come home, well, I'm sure I had enough battery life, right? But in like the 20-minute drive from the location to home, my computer died just as I parked. You know, up here in Canada, this is why we club seals, because we're so angry because crap like this happens. So, alright, so with this, I have the video that covers about an hour and a half of the game. It was a 4-hour game, but luckily the point where it cuts out is pretty much the key turning point of the game. So I'm going to go over the video. I'm going to then talk through what happens at the end. I'm very sorry, but I'm going to have to get like a backup battery or something. But either way, here's the game, and I hope you enjoy it.
It's battle time!
Alright, so here we are. For the terrain, it's a river of light, and the other terrain that matters is the thing at the top there is that stupid Sources Portal that always pisses me off. I'll explain about that thing later. But he won first turn, so after he vanguarded, he's just going to be coming up here. But for my part, when we were going back and forth deploying, my main goal here was to kind of make more of, first of all, I should explain this. If we were ever too still, the lights in this room will turn off. It'll happen one or two more times. But I want to set up a defensive base down below. So it's kind of using the river to guard my flank, and then at the same time having some other elements over there. Now, the problem is that I'm going to have to deal with these spirit, ethereal things coming in, and that's going to be a real pain because I want to go kind of going after them. But at the same time, the lore I went with Mazdamundi was the high lore with the hope of getting rid of some of the useless spells and to get the lore of death to try and snipe out his characters. Something that's usually used against me, I was going to throw right back. So looking at the bottom, it looks fairly solid there, and I feel pretty good that I can overwhelm that. The center with those skeletons being held up by the river, that should be easy. The main thing there is the fact that he's coming at me with Ethereal, which can tie up my Stegodons, and the Hex Race, which can just kind of kill things for free, and then those damn Blood Knights. If I can kill those Blood Knights with 2 characters, I am going to be set. Now, luckily, they have Frenzy, so I can redirect them, but at the same time, I mean, I know I'm on the clock, because his Terrorgeist and the zombie bat are coming at me really fast, the zombie dragon. So I really have to set up something quick, but luckily, you know, if I kind of guard my flanks, I should force him, if he wants to get to me, to go all the way around to the side, and that's really it. Now, I guess to his magic phase, he's going to be able to get off one spell here, which is the minusing my leadership on my Stegodon by 3, but when he does that, he's actually going to have irresistible force, and he's going to suck this vampire into the warp. Now, that is great for me. Now, unfortunately, the Coven Throne doesn't go as well, because it's just the vampire that goes away, not the mount. But the good thing for me is that was his only Death Wizard. The other ones are all lore vampires, so now I no longer have to worry about being sniped anywhere. So very, very lucky for me to have that taken out. Otherwise, he just really kind of moved up along the line there and didn't really have anything else. So on my turn, fail stupidity, which really sucks. And so those guys move up. The forest in the middle was a fungus forest, but I mean with leadership 9, cold-blooded rerolled, they're going to be all okay. So on otherwise, my goal for this whole turn is just to run up this salamander to redirect those knights to a spot where I can flank them and mess them up. Now, my old blood is designed to fight the Blender Lord. So really all I need to do is after I redirect him just so much so that he doesn't charge my Stegodons, I could just charge in my Lord there and I'm good to go. Otherwise, my skinks are kind of running around so they can start shooting the guys over there. The lore of the little river here when I deployed gave me double speed, so I was able to run right behind those Vargeist, and that was pretty awesome. Otherwise, I'm just really pushing up my line, right? On the far left here, I am really overwhelming him, so those should be easy points, which is going to force his hand in the middle. And as well, you can see my Temple Guard there with the Lord just being ready to take him on and being very cautious around the center. I would like to be using the Soul Quench on the Hex Race, but unfortunately with the range of only 18 inches, I really can't pull that off. Now in the beginning here, that little Sorceress Portal is just going to be doing silly things like Soul Blight or Wild Form on the Spirit Host that he has there. But we'll talk about what it does later. So otherwise, in my magic phase, I'm just trying to cast random spells so I can trade them over for the Lore of Death. The problem is that he scrolls one of my spells and then stops everything else, so really nothing gets done. So unfortunately, yeah, I really was trying to get something going on here, really just so I could trade it up, but none of that stuff actually worked, except for the fact that I was able to get off the Unforging onto his Blender Lord that's on the steed. With that, though, I was able to do a wound to him, destroy his Charm Shield, but in return, I forgot the spell. So even though I cast the spell, I can't forget it and trade it because I don't have it to trade and forget. So otherwise, doing some shooting over here, killing some dogs. I don't really care if they charge into me because they'll kind of die. Didn't really do very much damage to the Vargeist at the very top there. I thought I'd do better. Killed a few dogs here at the bottom here too, and in the very end was able to completely wipe them out with some pretty good rolling. So that's it. That's my first turn, and now it's going to be on to his turn, and he's realizing that, yeah, if I have to charge that thing, I'm in a lot of trouble. But, you know, with this whole river, and I mean, with that little space there, that's basically the bridge. If he does not start moving, he's just going to be giving me time to whittle him down. Because one of the things I also have is I have like the bolt throwers on the Stegodons and the stuff like that. So really, I outrange him. He is being forced to engage me. So, you know, at this point, he was kind of hoping that maybe he could wheel around or something, but that salamander is right there and he can't get around it. I would have loved to get even closer, but given its movement, that's the best I can do. So otherwise, he charges my Cold One Riders with his Vargolf. I decide to flee that. Then he charges my Salamander. It's also going to flee. And really, I mean, I have enough units over here that I have no need to be feeding him the easy stuff. Plus, a cool thing with Mazdamundi is that since he's on a monster, his whole leadership bubble is 18 inches. So even though some of the stuff down here seems a far ways away, it's going to be within range. So I'm causing failed tests on his Vargolf and on his Coven Throne, so they'll easily be able to go and counter him. And yeah, this is working out great. He tried actually to redirect into the Skinks at the bottom there, but failed his test. Otherwise, some of the things that are going to be going on here is he's going to be trying to charge in his Spirit Host there. It's actually going to fail. We checked to see if he had to do a frenzy test on the Vargolfs, or Vargeist at the very top. They didn't have to. The other Vargeist are going to charge into the flank one of my Stegodons. That's something I didn't really plan for. That was kind of a mistake on my part, kind of giving him a flank, but it doesn't really matter, really. I mean, I'm stubborn, so even if I lose, it doesn't matter how much I lose by. But one of the things that happened here is his dogs charged my chameleon skinks. Didn't see that one coming. And I stand and shot, only did a little bit. And we went through the river. Nobody died. And he got speed of light. So whereas I thought like, oh, okay, you're at me. I'll strike first and I might do some damage. No, now he's weapon skill 10, initiative 10. And that's just not good. My chameleon skinks are going to be toast. Meanwhile, his Vargeists are flying up, so are his Hex Rays, so they can be a pain later on. And yeah, I mean, that's one of the problem with this Sorcerer's Portal and the River of Light. You're always having to go back to the book to check them out. Otherwise, one of his Terrorgeist was able to fly up so it can scream at one of my Stegodons. And man, I mean, that screaming is just such a pain. Most of my leadership is pretty awesome, but the problem is that my cold-blooded does nothing for these screams. So they can get in there and they can do pretty good stuff. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I can do. His skeletons, one of them is actually, the one that's further back, has the spell on them was like the net of whatever. And so that basically means they're just going to be out of the game. They're just going to be stuck back there. They'll try to move. They'll fail. They'll lose a few models. And if you see me like aimlessly wandering and kind of like walking back and forth, I'm just trying to stop the lights from going back off again. But yeah, that's pretty much it. He's moving up with his ghouls and his zombies. But like I said, the only thing of any significance on the bottom of the table here that I give any respect to is really just the Vargulf. I mean, the Coven Throne's okay, but now that the vampire's dead, it's not really a worry, and I have no problem with it. So we're just trying to do some more magic here. He really didn't have much luck getting things off, especially now that I don't have to worry and hold dice for those death spells. I mean, I can let a few things go off. He doesn't have much to heal, so I don't really care. And I think I even use a scroll at this point, but I got 2 scrolls. So, I mean, going through the game here, it's really not that tough. And he doesn't really get off anything of any note until like the very last turn. So, there we go. At this point here, he's just kind of like screaming at my guys and stuff, and he did quite a few wounds to the Stegodon. I don't believe he actually kills it. We'll see if I just kind of take one away. But for the most part here, yeah, nothing really much. His Hex Race went through. His dogs, actually I beat his dogs. It was kind of really crazy. He goes into me, I'm needing 5s, and then I'm needing 4s, and I actually killed 2 of his dogs. And he only killed like one of my guys, so got really lucky there. But yeah, it's kind of a minor combat, right? Like, who cares what happens? We have some dogs are fighting some chameleon skinks when we got the real fight happening down the center. So we're just kind of figuring out some other fights here. But he's going to be killing the salamander, obviously, overrunning and showing up some flanks and stuff like that. So I really have a lot of options. So over here, we're fighting my one Stegodon with his Vargeist. He actually left me on 1 wound, and with the reform, I moved over so that the Scarvet could charge in and start messing those guys up. So that's really going to help a lot. Yeah, he's just rolling here. It's going to be a really easy kill. Yeah, there goes that salamander, no problem. And he was kind of hopeful that, oh, man, I can get all the way to these guys here. But he had to roll like a 12. So he's going to be going up 7 inches, and I was actually feeling kind of stupid here, because the way I redirected is I could have redirected them even more to an extreme, where I was going to be able to see a flank, but I didn't do that. So I did do it in such a way that I'll be getting the charge, but that's it. Now I'm going to be charging in here, and I decided to charge in with the whole unit. Now, the Stegodon charges in here. Impact hits should kick its butt. I sent in the whole unit because I figure if I get off wild form, I can destroy the entire unit. I tried double charging with the Stegodons. 1 failed, which really sucks. And I'm also going to be sending that Scarvet in as well. But like I said, if I was to send in the Lord, he could probably mess up those guys. But if I send in this unit and get it off double wild form, I can crush them. So meanwhile, my units are kind of rallying. With bad placement with these skinks, it meant that I couldn't charge in with the Saurus, but whatever. I'll just move up and shoot them, no problem. moving up some skinks to try and shoot some other things, really having an easy time at the bottom. And meanwhile, the skinks are chasing the Vargeist at the top, shooting them down. And man, I really would like to do a lot with that one Source unit horde with the spears, but unfortunately the way that they're in there is actually that forest and the river is kind of pinning me in, and I actually had too many units there, so everything's just bogging down. So very unfortunate. Otherwise, yeah, now we're going to start doing some magic, and I got like no dice. So he was able to stop both wild forms. No, actually, I think you got to try it once. Yeah, I think I had so few dice, I could only do one wild form, and he just stops it. So, yeah, so much for that. And also I'm realizing that Temple Guard are not really what you want to be having fighting all these Blood Knights, and I'm going to get really beat up. I go in for my impact hits on the Coven Throne and do 0. So that really sucks because a lot of the damage of the Stegodon comes from that. And then when we do the leadership comparison, it's to the point that I have to attack my own guy. So that is really, really bad. Basically now I'm going to get really lucky in that fight, and I think I just, either it's a draw or I just hold. I can't. I don't know. I get the charge, but he does a wound to me, so it's going to be a draw overall. But yeah, I thought it was going to be an easy win. So little bit surprising there. Otherwise, the Stegodon that went into the Terrorgeist, it's going to be killing that one, so it'll be nice to have that Terrorgeist dead. One of the things I did that was probably kind of foolish is I set it up so it's going to be overrunning into the Spirit Host, when really, that was to lock it down so I wouldn't tie up a Stegodon, but then I'm tying it up anyway, when I could have just overran and caused him more trouble in the backfield, basically moving the line of battle further away. But now I'll be right there, and he can just scream into combat, and yeah, that's not really what I wanted. Now, meanwhile, over there, his dogs beat up my chameleon skinks. I shot down, he's down to just like one or whatever Vargeist at the top there. And yeah, the nice thing is, I mean, my Lord is going to be there fighting him. What's this? He kills the Stegodon in the other combat with the other 3 Vargeist, and then I fight back and I do a few wounds to him. That Scarvet's pretty badass. He has 6 attacks, 1+ save, so pretty damn tough. And that's good. Fight's just going to kind of draw out for a while. Now, the main combat here, because he didn't have the charge, he's only going to be strength 5 with his Vampire Lord. And I mean, I'm toughness 6. I have a 1+ save. I have a 4+ ward. Meanwhile, I have 5 strength 8 attacks. One of the things I'm kicking myself for is that he got a spell off that I didn't mean him to, where he was able to heal up that Vampire Lord. So he did take a wound earlier on when I did the Arcane on Forging, but I forgot about the ability of Mazdamundi where you can re-roll a dispel attempt. So really feeling stupid for that. Well, I guess kind of luckily, in this fight here, he's going to do nothing to my Lord. He's going to save all the stuff I do to him. So, if I would have done a thing where I did 2 wounds, he was left alive because that one heal, I would have been really kicking myself. But meanwhile, basically our 2 lords are having a pillow fight. We can't hurt each other. He is going to tear into my Temple Guard. And meanwhile, when I fight back, I can't do anything to his BSB. His Vampire BSB there, and then all the attacks going into those Blood Knights. Remember, they're strength 5. They should be really doing okay to these Knights. Bring them down to like a 4+ save, I think it is, and he just saves every single one. So I do absolutely nothing. He kills like 10 of my guys, and I'm steadfast, but now I'm realizing what a mistake this was. Really, really should have turned in just the Lord, but that's not what I did. So, yeah, all of a sudden here we're going to be doing some reforms, and what I decide to do is I decide to reform to get more ranks, because I realize now it's going to be a grind battle. I move these guys away, and I really just got to make sure I hold there as long as possible. He wants to reform, but we're already maxed out. So now we're going on to his turn 3. It's going to be during this turn that this video is going to die. Still very angry about that. But really what he does here is he's taking a look at it, declaring his charges. His skeletons are going to be charging in. Coven Throne, we talked about how he could have just moved it over so he could have charged in. But then when you looked at that here, it didn't seem very possible. What he wanted to do is actually charge between those and get to the skinks there, but there's just no way to kind of fit through. So the zombies are going to be charging into the Stegodon. The Vargulf is going to be kind of switching over. Skeletons charging in. And yeah, that's really pretty much it. So at this point here, I'm just still going back and forth. We're having to check up the rules for the River of Light again. He's also looking to see if he'd have to charge into the flank of my spears. He passed the test, so he doesn't have to. But yeah, these guys here just making all of his charges. He'll be moving them in soon. And it's at this point here that I realize what a mistake it was to go narrow for ranks, because what I should have done is gone wide, because he's going to be adding his skeletons in here. He's going to be getting all these ranks to take away my steadfast. I'm still going to lose combat, and what I should have done is gone wide, so I got more attacks against the skeletons, and then even though he might kill a lot of my temple guard, I should have then killed lots of the skeletons to make up for it. Another thing is that my old blood should have not have been attacking his lord. I should have been killing off all of these blood knights. I mean, yes, if he was the general, I should, but the general's the one on the zombie dragon. So meanwhile, the other Terrorgeist is coming in to scream off more of my Stegodons. He wanted to run past and through with his Hex Race, but I was pretty careful to not give him room. So he just runs in and kills a few and kind of goes back over on the same side. And yeah, just pretty much came over with his other Vargeist and keep on fighting there. So we're going to start rolling these fights up. Basically in his magic phase, nothing happens. In his screaming phase, he's going to take off another Stegodon. And then in the combat, he is going to break those Temple Guard. And, the one thing you will do in the magic phase is raise up some zombies. But he's going to break that unit and run them down. And all of a sudden, my center breaks. I lose all those points. And I know I am in big trouble. So this is really it. There's that new unit of zombies, and I'll do a little kind of coverage of what happens after this, kind of more in person. So yeah, poor Temple Guard. They so many points, and they could have done so much better, but what can you do? So now it's kind of like a story time battle report, but I think it'll be okay because at this point here, that was a huge turning point in the game because my center now was wide open. Now, the real issue here is that when he beat me, he did have to overrun. And what I could have done is taken my spear source, and I could have put them in the flank of that unit. They could have spun right around. The problem with that is that his Blender Lord was on that flank. Even if he wasn't, he could have made way. And he is going to kick my butt. I am probably going to do no wounds to him. He has like a 1+ save, a 4+ ward, and then in return, he's going to kill tons of guys. Now, you could say like, oh, that's okay, I'll be steadfast, right? But however, to get into that combat, my unit had to swing into the forest so that the majority would be there. And then all of a sudden, I just can't beat these guys. So really had to change it over. And I decided, all right, now it's time to kill the general. So in my next magic phase, I'm actually able to get off a lot of little spells that don't really matter. And actually, I did get off one good spell. I got off a super soul quench and killed all the hex rates. Meanwhile, up there, I got more good luck where the one unit of Vargeist were basically all shot down by the skinks. So things were looking okay. He was already down one Terrorgeist, killing those guys. If I could avoid the knights and have like this little pocket and crush down at the bottom, things will be okay. Now, he made one mistake with the Coven Throne combat where he actually charged in his zombies. And what that did is where I wasn't really doing too much to his Coven Throne, I could just kill the hell out of those zombies. So eventually, I was able to kill all of them, basically kill the zombies, crumble the throne, finish off the zombies, so that was looking good. Meanwhile, his Vargolf took off, so I mean it's going to be an easy fight between my Saurus and his ghouls. But unfortunately there, again, my skinks are in the way, so I had to charge in both at the same time. Now, really, that wasn't too bad, because with the way the building was, the majority of it was just the Saurus fighting them. And in the first turn, I kicked their butts. So I was like, this is going good, this is going okay. But in the following combat, my dice went to hell. I killed like 4 guys with all those attacks. And meanwhile, going back, he killed tons of me. Like, he was already down to just down like 2 ranks of guys, and he killed a ton of me. Well, okay, I was still steadfast, but I failed my steadfast, and he ran down the skinks. Luckily, the Saurus got away, but then he overrun into the Croxagore, killed the Croxagore, so that whole area was just falling apart. It was completely ridiculous, whereas I should have got all these points. Now I lost them all. His Vargolf was able to come in and then finish off the one Stegodon that was down there, so then I was starting to lose those points, but at least I had Death Magic, and I thought, okay, I can still salvage this, because if I go and I Death Magic his lord, his general on the zombie dragon, I'll be okay. I'll just avoid those Blood Knights, kill him, things will crumble, and we'll go from there. Well, unfortunately, when I tried doing those things, he was able to shut them down. I didn't really have the magic phase I needed, and then what I did is I tried being clever, because it really was dangerous positioning in there, because I'm all just in a tight little ball. But in the end, I tried using his skeleton so that he couldn't land in with his zombie dragon. But what he was able to pull off then was, if he had his knights kind of charge out of the way, the skeletons could come over to this corner, and then he could come over to the opposite corner, and it was a really good move on his part. And then all of a sudden, I have a vampire lord on a zombie dragon fighting Mazdamundi. But I thought, hey, that's okay. I'm stubborn. I have a ward save. I'll be in a challenge. I can survive 1 round of combat and then death magic the hell out of him. Now, you have to realize I am not really well versed in death magic, in using it. It's always used against me, and my guys just die like crazy. But I forgot that it's direct damage, so I can't do it from in combat into combat. You just can't do that. So on his turn, he kills leg. I'm still stubborn, even being as just a frog. And then after that, Mazdamundi tries casting the magic. He reminds me I can't do that. I threw all my dice into a purple sun to try and do something crazy. He dispels it and then kills Mazdamundi. Once that happens, the cleanup kind of started. I was able to kill a few more things, like I was able to kill off the spirit hosts and stuff like that. But then after Mazdamundi was dead, the zombie dragon was just able to go around clearing things up. He made sure I couldn't get that last horde into his zombie dragon, and that was really it. So a victory for the zombies and for the vampires and all those evil things, and unfortunately not so good for Mazdamundi. But it was a really fun game. We both had a lot of fun, and man, I feel so bad that my computer died on the way home. Hopefully this isn't too bad. It's a little bit story time, a little bit normal battle report, but there you have it. And I already have another vampire game planned, not vampire, Lizardmen game planned in a couple of days here. So if you like them, I'll be right back here right again. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later. Bye.